Shalom, Yashra'Allah. First and foremost, I'd like to give all glory, honor, and infinite praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachach Vadash. Double honors to the beloved elders and the apostles at Great Millstone that taught me this truth. And peace and salutations to all you hopeful elect came out there laboring that are pushing this word in truth and in sincerity. This is your brother Amar from the GMS Boise, Idaho camp, and I'm doing this lesson, real quick, straight and to the point. If brothers have not heard about, Albert Pike, which is a 33-degree Mason that wrote certain books. He's most popularly known for his prediction in what is going to be known as the Third World War, which is a narrative, which is a story that these so-called these Zionists are going to push throughout the world to have a boogeyman or someone to blame for why there is going to be a worldwide conflict once again. They're going to label, for this is all to go after the prophets and to censor the truth. But to bring about that level of violence, they have to compare it to something that is, a major boogeyman in the eyes of the so-called, white Christian American or Zionist. Back to the point is, this is Albert Pike, 33-degree Mason, and his works most notably known for this quotes that I'm going to read. This is a third world war, and this is a quote from his books. A third world war will occur, between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and political Zionism, the state of Israel, mutually destroy each other, i.e., we know that's going to happen ultimately when Yahweh Shai sends those nuclear missiles. Continuing, meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economical exhaustion. And Esau is most famously known by establishing worldwide change through a term called order out of chaos, ordo out of chaos, which is Latin for, him coming in, or order out of chaos, but it's him coming in, creating a problem, him bringing up a whole conflict, and then he himself be the one to present the solution. So he looks like the hero, and we know with this truth that that solution is going to come through the charagma, the MOT to the B. So I'm going to get some scriptures now, real quick. I'm not ready for that one yet. This is Revelation 11 and 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. And these woes are representation of world wars, major destruction. World War I, World War II, and World War III. Ultimately, ending, the final blow will be when those nuclear missiles get shot off. So that makes me want to go to Matthew 24. And I believe it's around the 29th verse. Let me check this out. Salakia, Yashra'Allah. I know that must sound crazy through the mic. Salakia. I had to sneeze. For some reason I'm sneezing today. But the scripture, and the amount of destruction that's going to come. And I want to play this video because this video, this lesson is inspired, based on that narrative being pushed around worldwide. And we can see based on, the recent shooting that happened in Australia that was of 1,000% choreographed and created and made up as a false flag or a narrative to further victimize these people, and what they're using as saying that it needs to be changed is, look at this video. It's a lucky, Yashala. Man. But you can see this video. This is in Australia. Them being holier than thou, out there praying 5 times a day, facing the east. Wonder where they get that from, But the problem being is that Esau sees that he can use these mass amount of people as a scapegoat or a boogeyman, And I'll go to the word scapegoat, and then I'm going to read these scriptures, because this is just a sign of the world coming to a chaos, that our kingdom is coming even more. This is scapegoat, a person or group unfairly blamed for the mistakes, problems, or sins of others, taking on undeserved punishment to allow the real culprits to avoid responsibility. And we know, understand this comes through sacrificing, lambs, sheep, goats, turtle doves, etc. Certain offerings to the Levite priesthood when we had a temple to offer sacrifices to. That's where you get the term actual scapegoat from, because that's something that your sins would go into, that you would sacrifice to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, which comes from the Israelites. But these people are gonna, the main term is, Islamophobia, people being scared. But Esau, Edom already been fighting, these countries because back in the time of invading Iraq under Saddam Hussein, in Afghanistan, Syria, Kuwait, which are all oil-rich countries, But the point being is that a lot of these countries did not have central banks or a Rothschild-owned central bank, and Ishmael, being a wild man, is seen as an easy enemy to blame for them, further pushing a worldwide, digital charagma, because you have to have a large amount of destruction to bring in a new system, especially when you're rebooting the system, so, that mass amount of destruction is just a sign to the elect and to all of Israel that what this man's so-called prophets are saying, lines up with, scriptures being that there is going to be third world wars, 3 world wars, and his prophets, I'm just saying because, Esau has his left-handed magicians, which, if you know anything about being a Freemason, a 33-degree Mason is a very high level witch or warlock, for them to be able to, be saying these things, because guess what? Esau knows how to manipulate his world for these things to actually come to pass, and obviously all through the will of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, because even the left-handed angels don't move, or a sparrow doesn't fall out the sky unless it happens. But back to the point being that this is a major sign that the Israelites are going to be soon brought into the kingdom again. But the first remnant being the 1/3, the elect in that remnant that's going to be saved in the first go around. 2/3 of Israel got to go. This is Matthew 24 and 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of heaven shall be shaken. Because this nuclear missile, the nuclear missiles flying everywhere is a major sign that, hey man, look to get beamed up, especially if you are an Israelite here living in Babylon the Great, especially if you're an Israelite here in the US of A. You're going to have to really be dependent on that great sign of those missiles flying, knowing by your faith, and if Yahweh Bashim Yahushai has chosen you to receive mercy, are going to get beamed up into a chariot. That's a major sign. And that sun darkened, the cloud, the ash cloud, stars falling from heaven, allegory, these ICBMs pelting the earth. Verse 30, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And you cannot read the book of Revelation in chronological order, because Yahushua is going to crack the clouds, obviously, at exactly when he is prophesied to come. We can't tell you the day nor the hour, not even he himself knows. But at the time of Jacob's trouble, when we're finally, out there being a conquering power. You know, when I say we're out there, I said the elect, meaning the elect are out there being a conquering power under Yahweh Yahweh Shai. That's when these nations are really going to mourn. Verse 31, and he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. See how you can't read it in chronological order, because we already just read that the missiles already fell. But at that same time, you know, it's also saying that the angels are going to go and start beaming up the elect, start beaming up whoever they need to beam to get out of the way of the destruction, which is the second death, being, you know, the thermonuclear missiles. Again, Matthew 24:31, and he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect. This is not all of Israel. It didn't say all of Israel. It didn't say all the heathen. It didn't say everybody that believed and called upon JC. No, it says his elect from the four winds. That's wherever they are around the world, from one end of heaven to the other. So point blank period. This is only salvation for the elect of Israel, because only the elect is coming out of the nation of Israel. You know, and the sign of these nations turning on each other, trying to blame the Christian world, the Muslim world, the Zionist world, the liberal world, the conservative world, you know, whatever they're trying to blame, this is all just a sign of these heathens turning on each other, and ultimately prophecy being fulfilled in the coming World War III. You know, so I know it's a lot said in these lessons, you know, but through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahshai, those that can receive this edification understand exactly what I'm talking about. And there's many more words to be said about this, you know, same subject, but, you know, I don't like to beat a dead horse. But understanding that thermonuclear missile, and even on a low level, Esau knows that the third world war is coming through a boogeyman that he cannot ultimately forever blame. The whole world is going to understand that Esau Edom himself is the problem, and that he is the one that needs to be ultimately eradicated. So Lord willing that this lesson was edifying unto the elect. Till next time, I would like to give all glory, honor, and infinite praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rachach Vadash. Till next time, Lord willing, Shalom.